Welcome to the Rockhound Podcast. This week we have a brand new guest. Go ahead and take it away.
Hi there, everyone. My name's Mamlambo Fossils, and I do fossil hunting here in New Zealand. You might have seen a few of my crab videos going around. That's what I'm probably most known for, is the crab preps I'm doing.
Welcome.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yes.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for the invite.
We're so excited to get deep into it about fossils, forums, and all the cool things to fossick. Meanwhile, first, a warm welcome to all of you guys tuning in. Thanks so much for joining us. Let us know where you're tuning in from in the comments, and let us know what you're up to. And I'm Karen from Ozone Fine Art Ventures out here on the sandy Oregon coast. Kurt?
And my name is Kurt with Rock.Hounding.Adventures out here in Western Colorado, where it's starting to warm up finally. Richard?
My name is Richard, and my channel is How to Count to 3.
Welcome, Richard.
It's just the one video.
I thought that there would be 3 videos, maybe.
Well, you'd think, but
Trilogy.
3 shorts.
But we have 17 million subscribers, so that's something.
Wow.
Nice.
Doing pretty well there.
Yeah. Who would have thought?
Video for each language. And then I'm Kyle with World of Rockhounds, also here in Oregon. And that was our introductions. Karen, shoutouts.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks so much to Brian Major for coming on last week for the most awesome of awesome birthday celebrations for our 1-year anniversary. The Crystal Collector was telling stories all night long, so definitely go check that out if you haven't checked it out already. And we'll definitely have to have another go at that and bring popcorn and marshmallows for that one. It goes without saying that everybody in the comments was wishing us happy birthday, and thank you so much for that. It's incredible that we've been around for a year. Dustin Finds Rocks was honored by the epic shout out, and don't forget that you can see him and Brian Major at the upcoming event over at Haunted Ridge. The info is on the last episode. So again, check it out. Thanks, Debbie, for the suggestion for folks subscribing. If you haven't already do so, it helps us keep this juggernaut rolling out. Rookie Rockhounding was glued to his screen for the whole thing, he says, and sends much love from down under. You can hear him saying that in his cool accent. Karen Holmstrom said she said it for so many that it's so cool to see one of her rock hounding heroes on the show. Thanks, Karen. And we're glad that you're feeling better. Sandmaker was strangely absent from the premiere, and he was sorry that he missed it. He was actually avoiding landslides on both sides of him on the road. And
Wow.
So after the road crews got him out of there, he was able to at least leave something in the comments. Glad you're safe, dude. Rock and Roll Rock Hounding wanted us to know that one of our community and regular podcast enthusiasts, Michelle, is recovering from some pretty major surgery. So much love to you and wishes for fast recovery and well-being from all of us for sure. Thanks, Rick, for the heads up on that. Greg D is Twitter pated. I'll admit to having told him I was Twitter pated myself before our last guest. So he was Twitter pated about the podcast as well. Laura Bry Fogel checking in from Tucson, Arizona. Robbie Bobby 64, great handle, checking in from New Jersey. Paul the Rockhound from Australia. Greek Explorers from Greece. Cliff Walker Rock Hounding from British Columbia. Betouge Designs saying hi from Texas. And she says that she doesn't rock hound much, but she's a maker and she's got beautiful jewelry. To be sure. Zaid Plays says hi from Texas. Michelle Ross, Rock and Roll Rockhound, K Coda 1248 XYZ. That sounds like somebody's password. Hasu Andre, Judy Rury, Claude from Kalgoorlie, just like to say it. Scott Lambright, Ash Allman, Robbie Bobby, Sweet Sassy, Ivan Lopez, Michelle Exley, Allison Mineral Land, Nathan Cartwright, Dale Kimbrell, Ernest Johnson, Ivan Lopez, Carol Hiller, all dug it. Everyone in the chat was awesome, by the way. Thanks for celebrating with us. And them's the shouts.
Thank you, Karen. I know Carol.
Thank you.
It was a big one. Sorry. We got a lot of play last week.
Yeah, well, thank you for doing that and keeping track, because as the channel grows, so will that. So I mean,
We're
it's
gonna
not
just have
bad.
to pre-record shouts and then play them at like 3 times speed.
I was just
Yeah.
thinking that. Wouldn't that be great? I'm like one of the little squirrels. Like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe that's what we'll do next time.
So now we get into how our week was. Morne, if you want to go first.
So, like I told you earlier, my whole flame's got COVID, and I think I've got a bit of that as well. So, on the recovery path, hopefully. But I did manage to do a bit of fossil hunting, so it was a great week, actually.
Oh, sorry about the COVID part, but good thing for rocks though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
gives you time to organize the collection.
There you go.
That is true.
So many rocks to play
Always
with.
needed.
Yeah,
Is that your week, pretty much?
that's pretty much it. And I mean, today's my Friday, the rest of your Thursdays. So my week's, pretty much almost ready for weekend rock hounding and fossil hunting.
Nice.
Nice.
Yay.
I'll swim on over. I'll join you.
Yeah. Right on. I was just bogged with projects, worked on customer orders, dropped the Iris Agate video. Finally,
Woo!
Thank you everybody for being so patient. Go check that bad boy out. Thanks again, Theo, for the agates to play with.
Of course.
Yeah, working like the blazes on the Makers Challenge.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I'll bet you there's a little bit of that going on for you, Morne, as well. I think everybody in the room.
I was gonna say everyone here is
Yep.
taking
Yeah, literally
part.
everyone.
Yep.
How did that happen? What are the odds? All right. I picked up some petrified wood from some private property that absolutely blew my mind. I had to put the pieces back together, glue them back together, just to be
Now,
here.
did you have permission, or did you just find some private property that you wanted to?
That I'm not at liberty to talk about on.
If you go back,
Hopefully
let
nobody's
me
coming to get
know.
me. I also got to mention a very generous box that landed in my mail from Marlena Atkins. She shared some glorious petrified wood for my petrified wood research. And also she slipped in some insanity as far as some fossils in chert that
Ooh.
is like, some
Nice.
super old stuff, and it's going
That's
under the
cool.
microscope. So I'll be sharing stuff about that real soon, to be continued. How about you, Kurt?
Well, I want to say it finally warmed up to about 60 degrees today, so I got out and did some cutting on some agates, as well some granite from Texas and some obsidian from Oregon, of course, and so forth. So that I'm kind of working on 4 videos at once, and this upcoming week will be like just a shorts video, and then the main video will be later on the 1st of April. And I got out on a hike for the first time of 2022, and it was nice and cold. There was snow and freezing water in the river that I just couldn't help but jumping into, just like a little kid,
Barefoot, I bet too, huh?
with water shoes on this time.
Yep.
Nice.
And then stepped in the snow and ran to the car, and it was freezing cold. The snow was colder than the water, though. But yeah, that was pretty much my week. And as well, working on my Maker's Challenge thing, which I just realized today I'm gonna have to switch it up, because you know how when you're using a flat lap or wheels, there are certain areas grind down the areas where you use more often.
Yeah.
Well, using the piece that I'm using, when I put it on the flat lap for a while and then looked at it, I realized it's uneven. So part of it's polished, part of it's not polished. So I'm gonna have to do it by hand and get some sandpaper and work away at it. It'll be
Get
fun.
done the old-fashioned way.
Yes, exactly. So that was my week pretty much. So, Richard?
My week has been chaos. I put it lightly. So it's been actually finally spring has arrived in Montana. It's been amazing. Like it was
Nice.
I think high 50s on Monday. It's supposed to be 75 on Monday, which obviously I'm going out. It's going to be so nice. So we got out on Monday, and I'll just like bring this past the screen really quick. There we go. We got into so many big rocks. It was crazy. Those are show and tells for later. But yeah, it was the amount of large agates and petrified wood we found was just insane. I relate to Kurt right now because I'm working on like 6 videos at the moment because I need to have everything done before I leave for Florida on April 9th. So I had to make enough videos to post once a week until I leave and then have 3 ready for while I'm gone. And it's just been chaos because I'm also doing my Makers Challenge in the middle of all that stuff. And as though I didn't have enough going on Friday, my cat had a stroke and now she's okay. She's gonna be okay. She'll never go back to normal, but she's all wobbly now. Cognitively and personality wise, she's just fine. But she walks with a wobble now. So as though I had the time for it, I had to stay home for like 6 days just to make sure that she was all settled in and whatnot. So I had to go to work like later in the day whenever Alexis would get home. And then, yeah, it was just, this week has been crazy.
I'm so sorry about your cat, man.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I know, but still, it stinks.
It could be worse. She's a fighter.
That's good.
She's sassy as ever. So that's all that can.
Keep the sass.
I think she likes it now more this way because she's been getting chauffeured around the house. So it's just, it's a good deal for her.
She beat the system.
Yeah, exactly. Other than that, I've been doing some ammonite prepping for another one of the videos that I needed to get done in time. But yeah, other than that, I think that's everything. That's like 9 million things all happened in 7 days.
I get it.
Are you using an A-scribe for the ammonite?
Yes. Chicago
Oh,
Pneumatic.
Oh,
It's a nice
very
one.
cool. Can't wait to see that. Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for sharing your weeks. So my week's been different. I was laid off from work Monday. Figured, okay, no, trust me, don't worry, it's okay. Trust me,
Okay.
it ended on good terms. I was super cool about it. I let them know what was going on in the future. Make sure they had all the passwords, codes, whatnot, and told them if you need anything else, just feel free to let me know. Like it was good terms. And I figured, okay, I and plus I've been prepping for this for months in advance because I knew that at some point that this was going to happen. And so I figured, okay, I'm going to have like 2 weeks to kind of take a breather, get some projects done, focus on those, and also on the Maker Challenge projects I haven't even started yet. So that gives me this weekend and next week to kind of get that tiled in and also get those rose quartz pieces done because I still haven't finished those. And then I got offered an interview Tuesday. So I did the interview and they came back and they're actually offering me the job. And I told them, I was like, hey,
Congrats.
I'll go ahead and take.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird how things work out, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't, panicking after I got laid off. I'm like, it's fine. I saw this coming. I have enough money in my bank account to last, several months worth of bills. Not an issue. So I figured I'll sleep in, kind of dilly dally, not a big deal. And it's all of a sudden, interview lands in my lap. I'm like, I just wanted a break. That's all I wanted was a small break. But then, I got to talk with them and I told them, like, hey, I wouldn't mind like starting at least like the 5th of April at the very earliest, just so I can have a small break. And they're really cool about it. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So
Nice.
looks like I'll be starting a new job beginning of April. And then I'll be
Cool.
using between now and then to focus on rock stuff and get stuff done out of the way. And so I do have some words of wisdom later that might tag along with that, so we'll save that for later. But that is my week. Oh wait, hold on. I'm gonna back up a little bit. I went to a rock shop today. So basically, if I had not gotten laid off, I wouldn't have gone to a rock shop today, and I wouldn't have gotten some rocks, and that'll be part of my show and tell. But things happen for a reason, and if they hadn't happened, I wouldn't have got the rocks that I did. So, that was my week. So now we can get into The deep
The
questions.
Yes.
Oh. Uh-oh.
No, it's okay.
Morne is on the
My
hot
hands get
seat.
all sweaty.
Well, we always like to start off with how the heck did you get into this, fossil rock
Yeah.
hunting game in the first place?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I was born in South Africa, and in South Africa, you're not allowed to fossil hunt if it's not on the beach, just because there's so many hominid fossils around. They don't want people disturbing that, and it's totally understandable. So I never did fossil hunting there, but I did do quite a bit of rock hounding. So my grandfather was a civil engineer, so he was building roads, and he loved geology. So he would have all these core samples that he would, drill down and then bring up, and he'd have them stacked in his garage. And we would, on weekends, we'd go through those and look at all the little crystals and things inside there.
Wow.
So that's probably where I got the bug from, looking at rocks. And then I came to New Zealand, didn't know much about New Zealand's rocks or, fossils at all. And the one day we were having a picnic on the beach, and I just picked up a weird looking rock, and I'm like, wait a minute, this looks like a vertebra. And it was a dolphin vertebra, fossil dolphin vertebra. I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So I started reading up a bit and realized I'm pretty much in the middle of one of the best fossil areas in the world. And that's kind of, how I got started. And then I heard about these fossil crabs. I'm like, I need a fossil crab. So.
And now you have a nice plethora stash of fossil crabs.
Yeah. Now I don't want even one more fossil crabs. I want other things. I want a penguin.
Like a penguin.
Yes, definitely want a penguin. Yeah, and just I actually went on the fossil forum. I don't know if you guys know the fossilforum.com. And just reached out there. I'm like, I'm new in New Zealand, anyone around? And I got in touch with two people, and they took me out, and then joined the local rock club, Christchurch Mineral Lapidary Club. And there's so many fossil hunters there, and agate hunters. So it's just like, there's so many good people to get to know, and they take you out on fossil field trips and rock field trips. So it's just a great way to get into it.
Nice. Yeah, you got the lottery.
Yeah, definitely.
Totally.
I mean, if you go south, it's just agates, and if you go north, it's just fossils. So it's crazy.
Man.
You're in the belly button of all the good stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm the lymph.
You just be like, oh, okay, I'm bored of fossils for this day. Let's go look at agates. Okay, I'm done with agates this day. Let's go look at fossils.
Said anybody never, ever. Never bored. Thank you. Kurt, do you have a question?
Yeah, well, real quick, to go along with that, how you said you said one side is agates, one side is fossils. Do you ever find any aggetized fossils?
Good question. The bone often, if you look at the bone structure carefully, it's got little agate sections in it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been mineralized, and they call it gem bone, I think, in the States. So you do get those bits that are turned, into, it's been infilled with chalcedony and quartz and, a lot of calcite. Just looking at, like this, I found at one of my fossil beaches, and that's just a lump of calcite. So I assume it's formed inside a concretion or something weird, but it's just a lump of calcite. So yeah, you do find them mixed in between.
That's cool.
Yeah, you always find out if your bone has calcite and not one of the other things that when you put it in the acid.
Yes, and yeah, definitely. And even so, this is one of my crab concretions I found the other day, and if you open it up carefully, that's calcite in there.
Interesting.
So it's the crab covered in calcite.
That's cool.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
and there's actually calcite crystals in there. It it feels like you're touching glass because it sticks to you. They're quite sharp.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So,
Well, so that wasn't my actual question. That was just went along with what you're saying.
Pre-question.
Right.
Pre-question, yes. So the actual question is, what is the let's see, what is the strangest fossil that you've ever found?
strangest must be. I was just on a family holiday down south near Rocky boulders, and Rocky boulders are these big Superior concretions on the beach, and we stopped at a little playground for just a quick play. Walked onto the beach, found a piece of petrified wood, turned it around, and I'm like, this is bone. I'm like, is this a dolphin skull? Lifted it up, and I'm like, sweet, my first dolphin skull. Turns out
That's
it's a
insane.
fossil marlin. Yeah,
That's
so
sick.
it turned out to be a marlin.
That is so cool.
Oh, that is so great.
Yeah. Unexpected find.
Got to play more often.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Clear room in the trunk.
I mean, I did misidentify it like 3 times. Like in the video, I'm like, oh, petrified wood, because I have my GoPro with me, so I just pulled it up. Yay, petrified wood. Whoa, a dolphin. And then when I got home, it's like, no, that's a bullfish, like a swordfish. Yeah, so
That's so cool.
That's still cool.
That's so cool.
like that size, and it's about 50 million years old. So it's a really old one as well.
Yeah.
A new species as well, I think.
What?
So
Are they going to name it Morne?
Not sure. Yeah, so
They better.
someone needs to come and name it first, or do a paper on it.
Right.
So,
That's so cool, man.
yeah, when I say a new species, there's never been one name from that area, so chances are it's a new species. It might randomly be the same as one in, Argentina, but probably not. Yeah.
That would still be cool, though. So
Yeah.
have a fossil named after you.
That is so awesome.
Well, that actually kind of ties into my questions. I had 2 questions, but I think that, I don't know, if that was me, that would probably. So the 2 parts to the question is, what is the favorite fossil that you've ever found? But the one that I think probably ties in is, what's the most scientifically significant find you've ever found? But if that's a new species, I mean, that's probably the one.
And so my favorite find is still one I can't talk about because it's being written up. And it is also a new species. And there's quite a bit of a story to that, but I'm going to have to tease it because the people writing it up don't really want people to talk about it and share photos of it before they've actually published it. But there's the one part of it I found, there was about an 11-month gap between finding the 2 parts of it. So
Wow.
I'll give you a little bit of that. That's probably my favorite fossil.
That's insane.
It's not a penguin. So it's not a penguin, but it's a pretty special one. And that one I did get to name. So I did get to give it a name. I named it after my dad.
Oh,
We used
that
to
is so
drive
cool.
kilometers and kilometers to take me rock hounding.
That is so
So,
cool.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
That's the best legacy. How awesome.
But those things take time, the paper. So I found it probably 2 years ago, and it's still going through the process of, the paper being written up. It needs to be peer reviewed. It needs to find a place to publish.
Wow.
There's lots of steps to it, which I never realized. I'm like, you find something, you write a newspaper article, you give it a name, out it goes. No, there's a lot. There's a lot of steps to that process.
And at your pace, you're going to find like 6 more new species by the time this paper
Yeah,
comes out.
exactly.
Yeah, and it's not, if you spend the time, like if you put the time in looking for fossils, you'll find a new species. I don't know if it's like that in every country, but New Zealand's got such a host of fossils and so many different layers, and it's so unique apart from everything else that you will find new species if you go look for it. One of the younger fossil hunters that sometimes meets me at the beach, and we go along together, found a new species. It was literally a new species of dolphins. Like we found the one half, found the other half, carried it up this huge hill, and they prepped it. Because you donate it to the museum, it needs to be in a museum's collection if they're going to write a paper on it, because it needs to get a specific number, so that if someone comes and wants to verify your findings, they can go open up the drawer and say, no, you're completely wrong. This is actually, Tyrannosaurus. No, what's the Spinosaurus was actually aquatic. Is that the big thing these days? So that kind of thing. So yeah, that's why I really don't mind donating fossils. The museums come past my house like every 2-3 months and just take a whole wagon load of fossils away, and I'm like, yeah, you got new space.
You're like, thanks, they were in the way.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't have to prep that fossil skull.
There's
That is so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is like dream scenario for me, because in Montana it's like it's hyper illegal to keep any vertebrate fossils of any kind.
Oh yeah.
So finding a skull of any kind and actually being able to like even touch it, because you're not even allowed to touch the things, like you just have to let it sit there and degrade, which is heartbreaking. But the other thing about Montana is we have such a massive fossil record from all the Cretaceous stuff. I mean, you'll find like you could go out and find like a Triceratops skull and then call the museum and they're like, it's fine, we have like literally thousands, we don't need any more. It's heartbreaking. So they just sit there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and we have harsh winters in Montana and summers. So
the frost thaw cycle just messed it up.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a shame.
I know, it's heartbreaking. There's actually a petition in place right now to try to set up a permit system like Florida has. And it's not, it doesn't even have to be like that much, like just a little bit, just because I feel like the more of those fossils that fall in the hands of people that are like hobbyists and really care about it, the more that fossil record is being, kept intact, because there's a lot of stuff in Montana.
Yeah, give credit to the citizen scientist,
Yeah, exactly.
And not that I wouldn't want like the Triceratops skull, like
right. And put them to work. They could be finding new species for them.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what's happening in New Zealand, because most of the new species are found by school children, looks like, because your paleontologists, they have to do a lot of paperwork and publishing. They're not in the field as much as the weekend warriors, where we can go, I mean, that's me tomorrow, I'm going fossil hunting,
Yeah, exactly.
One thing we don't do, I advocate for, is leave things in situ if they're too big to take out. So if the fossil's too big, you find people that are like, oh, I'm just going to knock a tooth out because, I want the tooth or stuff. So, I always say, rather leave it there, let the museum know. They'll tell you if it's good or bad. We've got really nice museums here in New Zealand. They're very approachable. So you can literally just email any museum and they'll tell you if it's a, important fossil or not. And that's how they find a lot of things.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be really cool.
Pretty chilled.
It'd be really cool to go to the museum and see your name on a lot of specimens that are there.
Yeah. I think they're like, Mamlambo's got more fossils for us. Where are we going to put them?
Closets, drawers. Here's a doorstop.
That's the thing, with just fossils in general. It's fine finding the fossil, but you prep it. That's a lot of man hours. I mean, I don't even want to know how long a T-Rex takes to prep. I mean, that must be thousands of man hours. That's why they're so expensive, I think.
That's what interns are for.
I've spent 200 hours on a crab.
Yeah,
exactly. No, I mean, they talk about that at Museum of the Rockies, which is the one that's closest to us. That actually is the largest collection of ceratopsid skulls and fossils on the planet, and it's crazy. Like they've got just so many gigantic, like dozens of different species of ceratopsians. But they talk about like the process of taking something like a sauropod or a theropod and how long it really takes to actually like excavate it to the point where it's like museum ready. And it's like years of prepping, and there's dozens of people per team. It's crazy.
Just to give you an idea, I know where there's three plesiosaur fossils, like pretty not complete. There's no skulls that I can see, but it's just, firstly, to get them there in valleys, you need helicopters and things. So you're looking at $10,000 just to get it out of there. And then who's going to prep it? Like, if it's a skull, it's a different story because the skulls are diagnostic, but, the ribs and things, maybe not so much.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Theo,
Kyle, you have a question?
Oh, I was going to ask Theo if he had any, if he wanted to, oh my gosh, if he had a question to add on to that, or if he wanted to wait.
What?
Did you have another question?
I'm sure by the time the rotation goes around, I could have another question. Or wait, or were we not doing that this time? I remember us talking about the fact that Karen and I were going to be like school children who were going to ask 9 billion questions about the show and tell. So
Yeah, we'll go from there.
okay.
So, if money was not an issue, and you can go anywhere else in the world to look for either fossils, agates, or whatever you want to look for, where would you go, and what would you be looking for?
Easy. Well, actually, now I've thought about it too much. Not so easy, but I'm not going to think about it too much. And this is because it's been in my mind for a while now. Antarctica. So
Ooh.
that's
Oh,
where I
yes!
would-
Ooh,
Yes.
that's been on my mind.
Because
Wow.
I'm going to show my ignorance here. I thought Antarctica was all ice and snow. I didn't realize it had an actual landmass that is that big and accessible, and there is so many fossils there. There's a guy that's really into plesiosaurs, marine reptiles, mosasaurs, all those kind of things. He's my go-to guy for IDing things, and he's such a nice person. And he's in Argentina, and he goes to Antarctica all the time. He's there now, and he's sending me photos of the plesiosaurs he's finding. And they literally, it's like you see in the movies where the skull and everything, you look at it and it's just articulated.
It's all yeah.
I want to go there, and it's got penguins. I mean, why wouldn't you go?
Yeah. You know, I think that's the first time we've heard that answer, and
It is.
I don't know
It
why
is.
we haven't heard that before. Because there's crazy ammonites in Antarctica as well.
There's so much there, and you
There
can go
is.
look for meteorites on the ice. Have you heard that?
No,
Yeah,
because
it's so
there's
cool.
nothing on top of. There's no rocks on the ice, so everything on the ice that's rocks is probably a meteorite, a micrometeorite. So you can
That's
just go,
cool.
just go pick them up.
Yeah,
Like meteorites in a barrel. Yeah.
and I know they have
Yeah.
other crystals there too. I was a part of a rock club a while back, and this family brought in this. I forgot what it was, but it's a type of crystal. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Where'd you get that? And like, oh, we actually know someone that went to Antarctica, and they brought this back. And I don't think they really. I don't know if they were supposed to or not, but like, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, I want one.
I've got a few shark teeth from Antarctica, and I don't know how I got hold of them. Someone just sent them to me, and he's like, "I like your videos. Here's some shark teeth from Antarctica." I'm like,
Oh,
Thank
that's
you.
cool.
Caring.
Yeah.
"Yeah."
That is so cool.
Now we should make a trip to go to Antarctica.
I know.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've wanted to for a long
Mm.
time. I was scrolling on, I don't know, it was Instagram or Facebook or something like that years ago, and I just kept seeing those pictures of like there's like upended like cliff face on the coastline, and there's just literally like thousands of ammonites poking out. And
Yeah.
like, why can't I be there?
Oh
You can
man.
go have a cook or something, on one of those
Yeah.
stations.
Exactly.
Like, you don't even have to pay me; just send me there.
Right.
Seriously, I'll go as a janitor for free.
Go during one of the warmer months.
Yeah, you don't want to be there in the blackout months.
Yeah.
No, I want to be on that last plane. Thank you. Please. Was that your question, Kyle?
Yeah, that was my question. Did anyone else have any other questions?
I have my real question because the
I got
opener
one too.
question doesn't count. You integrate such wonderful amounts of science into all of your videos, like the 3D animation, the animation of the crab coming out of the concretion or creating the concretion, actually, your turbidite tank, etc. What is your background in science that helps you to integrate all that?
No background in science. I'm just I like science. I like reading papers. So, I mean, okay, no, I don't talk too much about myself, but I went to varsity, didn't know what I was doing, so I did a BCom, Bachelor of Commerce, didn't like economics, didn't like accounting, but enjoyed the computer part of it. So then left varsity to join a rock band. So I left varsity early.
Yeah.
And joined a rock band and toured around a bit. And then did the IT thing. So I'm still doing the IT thing. But I've always loved science. So I did, that was my favorite subject at school, science, is figuring things out. Always had my own little chemistry set and like that. And then I realized that pretty much every scientific paper in the world is available free on the internet. So you can go and download, whatever you want. If it's behind a paywall, there are ways around it, which I won't go into, but there's a pirate bay of papers, basically. Or you can just literally email the author, because they don't get paid for people accessing the paywall. So they literally just email you that paper back, and then if they know you're interested, they'll answer your questions. So like the turbidite tank was a funny one.
That was awesome.
I saw this animation on YouTube. I'm like, that looks so cool. I'm gonna do that. So I just got one of those, those containers that you put your rocks in and it's see-through. So I just put an acrylic front on it. The first one literally just exploded. As the water got to a certain level, it just went crack, and the water was everywhere. So I had to strengthen it and that. And then when I did the actual video, it looked so amateurish. I actually just used a short little clip of that, and then actually used the proper one. I was like, they probably spent a bit more time, putting their tank together. But I mean, it's fun to do. And everything, so the 3D models, luckily I work in virtual reality, doing simulations and that, but on the coding side, but more just helping out where I can. But we've got an amazing 3D artist, and he's worked at Weta Workshop, worked on some of those movies, so he's really good. So I was like, can you quickly help me? He's like, no, change this. You do the lighting like this, and he does like 10 different things in 5 seconds. I'm like, thank you, sir. Yeah,
because it looks totally pro,
It does.
And so I was like, wow, you've got some mad skills. What kind of crazy science do you have going on? I get it. Yeah, passion is an answer.
Oh, it's just I was self-taught. I mean, you don't see all the things that I mess up and never show anyone. That's the magic of YouTube. You edit it until it looks smooth. That's true. Also why, I mean, you don't see the 20 times I stumble over the word turbidite, and edit that out. And
I like a forum. Forum is such an easier word.
Forum,
The foraminifera.
Foraminifera.
Yeah, there you go.
Say that 5 times fast. Yeah. I'm not even gonna try it.
I can't wait to make my video on that. It's not gonna happen.
I don't have enough coffee in me to try that.
I'm actually busy with a forum video. I've actually got stuck on it. I just need to push through on it, because I did a machine learning model. You actually just put a photo of the forum in there, and it had about an 80-90% chance of giving you the right one. But yeah, it's something I got it working by following a paper, so it was it's pretty easy.
Oh man, I've got a mystery forum that I should send you a picture of if you're see if your model will work with it.
Yeah, if it's one of the 12 I trained it on, it will work. If it's not.
All right. Well, that greatly decreases, I think, some of the chances there.
But there's a really great Facebook forum or Facebook page I'll send you for forums, and they're really nice people.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
because there's a really fantastic database out there for all of you people that are delving into forums. I know there's thousands, maybe millions of you out there doing that. But if you go through it like page by page, if you don't have all the specs on your forum or something like that, then I'm going through it trying to find it. It's never gonna happen. There's so many. It's fun to look at though. It's kind of like walking into the library and not knowing anymore what you're looking for, so you just start looking at stuff. That sort of thing.
And I've only known about forums for about 6 months, so this whole world has just opened up to me. I was like, what do you mean there's all these little weird creatures?
Yeah,
because I think they make up a lot of the ooze at the bottom of the ocean. There's just forums in there. I'm like, so weird.
It's so awesome that you find it all over the place.
Yeah, and actually where I find the crabs, that area has never been properly dated. So they've said, Middle Miocene, but no one has actually done a proper job on that. Sorry, my headphones keep dying on me.
Nice.
So it'd be great, just to get enough forehands to get a proper date for it. Because you can't use carbon dating more than 50,000 years old, I think. So you have to then go for the other isotopes with longer half-lives, and that gets more expensive, I think.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. The realm of micropaleontology never occurred to me until actually quite recently. I sent Karen some stuff. It was just a death plate of gastropods, and she, instead of just enjoying it like I feel like most people would, she was sending me pictures of it under the microscope, and I'm like,
the sand from inside the gastropods.
Yeah. I'm like, how have I never thought to do that before? It's like
so many cool creatures in there.
Never occurred to me.
And you don't even need an expensive microscope. I got mine secondhand on our version of eBay, and it was like from a university, probably in the 80s. So it's old, but it does its job.
Yeah, exactly. If anything, maybe it's got better optics than one purchased more recently.
Yeah. Exactly.
There you go, Theo. He wants one.
I want one so bad.
Yeah,
I want one.
Yeah, keep an eye on eBay or Amazon, even if they've got specials.
Yeah,
they'll bundle it for you. You'll get slides and stuff.
Get a stereo one if you want to look at rocks, because you don't want the ones with the backlight for rocks. I think you want the ones that can look at solid objects. And I've went for the trinocular one, so you can put your camera through the other one. But I've only got that for my the compound microscope, not the stereo one. So my stereo one is always my phone, and I just hold it really carefully over there.
It's so hard sometimes.
Yeah, it's so hard.
Man.
That's actually my that thing over there is my little holder next to the fish skull, so that holds it over that lens. So it's a lot easier.
I need to build one.
I thought about doing that.
That's a good idea.
3D print one.
What's that?
I'm sure you could 3D print one. So if you have someone with access to a 3D printer,
I'm sure that I could probably spoil somebody's day and make them 3D print something for me. Because I have I have a camera on top, but I have a compound. So the one on top is 20x, and my eyepieces can be 10x. And then, of course, you've got all of the compound down below of the objectives. And so, I love taking the picture like you're talking about through, 10x, by 4, and then up here, and then, so.
I could spend hours on the microscope, and the more you look, the more you see, or the more you find. So what I've been doing now, when I go to like a Cretaceous area, I just get a bit of the soil. I'm like, one day I'll sift this. So I've got all these random jars all over the place.
Yes, I got bags. I'm literally doing a sand video. Like, that might be a sleeper on YouTube. I don't know. Oh, well.
You never know. That algorithm's weird.
It really is. It really is.
I know. Look at how to count to 3. I never thought it would blow up. Sorry.
Kurt, did you have another question?
I got a question for you. I always ask all of our guests this just because I get a kick out of it, and I'm sure other people do too. But talking about creatures, do you ever, or have you ever run into any interesting creatures or have any cool encounters while out fossil hunting?
While fossil hunting, probably the scariest ones are the seals you always happen upon, because they tend to look like the rocks. So I've stepped on a few. I've had a few try and bite me.
Oh no!
But over the weekend, I was looking for fossils in these little rock pools, and I looked over to my left. Just for some reason, I thought there's some commotion in the water, and maybe like 50 feet away, an orca came out, a huge orca. I was just like,
that's so cool.
Like, that's awesome. The dorsal fin must have been like 1.5 meters. What's that, 5 feet? It was huge.
Wow.
It was almost at the top. It was kind of like bending over. I was just like, wow.
Wow.
Oh, cool. Man. Yeah, you won't see that in Montana.
Surfing the break. I mean, that sounds so close. Like, was it perch fishing or something? I mean, gosh.
I think they eat stingrays. So it might have been looking for stingrays in the shallows. They're
Yeah.
not uncommon in New Zealand, but I've never seen one that close.
That's so cool.
The other thing, is the leopard seal. So every year, this one leopard seal comes to one of the beaches I go to, and he's always there within 2 or 3 days of a certain date. So, I always know to look out for that leopard seal because they're big. They're
And
really,
cranky.
really big.
Yeah.
And they've got big teeth.
They're intense.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. In Africa, we used to go metal ticked all the time, and you'd run across weird animals and things there. But New Zealand's got mostly marine animals, and then it's got a bunch of introduced animals on the land. Some really cool birds. I'd really like to run into a moa. A live moa would be cool, but I think they've been extinct for 500 years.
Man, there's your algorithm breaker right there.
Yeah, no kidding.
Man wrestled moa.
Exactly. Oh.
It's kind of like Sasquatch. There's all these rumors that they once been sighted. They've heard one. They've got it on camera, and it's always a blur.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody in a moa costume. Stop.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's always the blurry, fuzzy photographs.
Yes, especially with the time that we're in.
Yeah.
Yes.
What'd you film this on?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I say every time I see a video like
1990s
that.
Nokia.
The other day, so I was out at night, actually looking for someone's dog, but it was one of my fossil sites, so I knew the area well, so I thought, let me go have a look. And it was really dark, like scary dark. And I was wading through the shallow water, and I saw a huge snake. Well, I thought it was a snake because, being from a place of snakes, the first thing you think is snake, but it was an eel, and it was big, and it was out of the water. It was kind of in the, like the wet mud doing something. It got such a fright.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh wow.
Those can be gnarly too. Do you guys have morays
Yeah.
out there?
We've got morays, but we've got short fin and long fin eel that I think has traditionally been hunted. But they pretty gnarly with their teeth.
I was gonna say the conger eels are in that part of the world, aren't they? If I'm remembering correctly, or is that Australia?
Yeah, it could be.
Okay. Yeah, those eels they're more like snakefish than eels that I'm used to.
Theo, did you hit?
not any other animals I can think of.
Yeah, I know that for sea lions here on our side, they also blend in with the rocks in their environment. I don't know if I remember if I told this on the previous podcast or not, but when I was younger, I lived in California, right on the beach there, and it was right after a big storm. And I took my cousin out on the beach because he wanted to go run and play and whatnot, and I kind of almost threw up a little bit because he went to go jump on rocks and jump on logs and this and that. Well, he jumped on one that looked like a log.
Oh no!
And it like jiggled, and it was a dead seal, and it was massive. And I think for out like 5 or 6, I think he was. But I'm like, we gotta go. We're not jumping on logs today. Oh man, but yeah, it's not our fault that they blend in a little too well.
Really well.
But Theo, did you have any other questions?
I like to ask this question a lot, but I think you already answered it. That was, what's your bucket list find? But penguin, right?
Yeah, penguin, but plesiosaur, mosasaur skull, and those are the possible ones. But really, what I really want to find is a dinosaur, because they've only found maybe a handful of dinosaur bones on the North Island, none on the South Island that I know of, and nothing skull. So if you find a dinosaur skull, a proper dinosaur, not a marine reptile like a mosasaur or plesiosaur, I mean, that would be such an important find. And that would kickstart, paleontology interest probably quite a bit in New Zealand, because when you're growing up, you want to work on dinosaurs. You don't want to work, fossil whales and all those things are cool, but that's probably not what kids grow up. And they wouldn't really, they might go to the museum for a T-Rex skull, but maybe not for a whale skull,
Yeah, they didn't make a movie about that.
No, I think the Mosasaurus was in one of the movies, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
The one jumped out. Yeah, I would still like to find a mosasaur skull, plesiosaur skull. Plesiosaur skull will be easier to carry because they're not all that big, in relation to the body. A mosasaur
Right.
skull, like a
You're thinking the logistics ahead of time.
Right, yeah.
Do I need a helicopter?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they do find them. It's not all that rare. I mean, they're rare, but it's not like an impossible find. And there's no reason why there wouldn't be a dinosaur around, because I find wood from the Cretaceous era. So if you find wood, it means that maybe a dinosaur did its float and bloat. Oh, what's it? Bloat and float?
Yep.
Yeah, so there's no reason not to find one. So I'd love to find a dinosaur. So that's probably top of the bucket list, is proper dinosaur skull.
Fingers
Maybe
crossed
not
for
too
you,
big.
man.
Yeah,
Right.
this thing's Velociraptor.
Yeah, a small theropod.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you found a big one, it might be one of those things where if you found it too big, you probably have to either camp out on the beach and keep track of where it's at, or put a little
Yeah.
put a tracking tag on there.
Well,
There you go.
I thought I found a mosasaur skull a while back, and I'm still not sure if it is or isn't, but it's about 300 kilograms, so that's about 650 pounds. So it's a big
Wow.
rock.
Wow.
So I got in touch with a helicopter company, and they gave me a reasonable quote to come and fetch it, but then COVID happened.
Oh.
And it was in a certain area where I needed permission from a few agencies. And no one, it was kind of on the border of where this one, and that one, and no one could give me a definite yes or no. And then the one said, yes, but you need a $2 million insurance contract for when
Oh
if
my
your
gosh.
helicopter crashes.
Wow.
Oh
So-
man.
So I was so keen to just get it to the chopper, and then so the chopper takes it. That'd be like my 12-year-old Morne or Mamlambo. You're doing it right.
Yeah, right.
That's great.
Attach a banner on the back
Well,
of the
the other
helicopter.
bucket list, yeah.
Yeah.
The other bucket list is that there's an area west of here where there's a whole bunch of fossils on the ocean floor, and they get brought up in nets. So I'd really like to get a fishing trawler and not go fish, or go fish for fossils. So you just hire the fishing trawler and you go for a week, and you just bring up all those fossils.
That'd be so
Oh,
cool.
That sounds awesome.
Sign me up.
How deep is what
It'd
would
be
that
so
be?
much fun.
How
And
deep?
it's deep. It's 1,000 meters, so
Oh.
3,000 feet. Yeah, so a
Wow.
bit too deep to scuba dive.
That was my question. Could you scuba dive? Like, no, that's a little far down.
No, you basically go west for like hundreds of kilometers, like hundreds of miles, and then you get to this one area. And they call it the fossil graveyard. There's just so many fossils down there. The
Interesting.
weird things, that's
Wow.
all.
I'm gonna look
Not
that up.
dinosaur, I think younger.
That is so cool.
Well, I guess my last question before we get into show and tell. So we know you have air scribes and false preparation tools. What other lapidary tools do you have?
I've got a 10-inch rock saw over there, which has got really cool because it's self-feeding. What do you call it? It's got a carriage that goes through.
Those are nice.
So it gives,
Oh, cool.
yeah, it gives you really nice cuts, and it's made by a New Zealand company, but they've been exported all over the world. So when I saw it secondhand on an auction, I paid a quarter of what it's worth, and
Nice.
just had to fix it up. It needed a new blade, it needed a new, pulley, and all those kind of things. So I've got that. I've got a vibro lap that I'm busy fixing up to polish some of my agates, and then I've got it can cut about 300 millimeters, so big saw, Husqvarna saw outside, one of those really big towel sauce, but I've only used it twice because it's really scary to use. And then I've got all the, the not usual things, those sanding pads that you put on the bottom of a buffer, and you just go through the 20 different grits to get something. But that's probably the extent of my lapidary. So it's 2 saws, the vibro lap. I don't have a tumbler. I really want a tumbler, so I need to find one. But I've kind of run out of space in this area. So the next thing is to get a big shed. Also, I think the tumblers are quite noisy, the ones I've seen, so I need a bit.
I was going to say.
I'm already quite noisy with my air scrubs, so I don't want to drive the neighbors crazy.
Mine isn't too loud, but it always is. I have to put reminders on my phone to actually plug it back in after I unplug it, because it's right under my bench where I do all my filming.
Yes.
So you either hear the sound of tumbling rocks in the background, or I just lose a week on my tumbler because I never plugged it back in.
Yeah, I totally hear you. I have my tumbler in the kitchen, and just because it's too cold to put it outside right now, so when it warms up, it'll go back outside. But for right now, in the winter, it's in the kitchen. And most of the time when I'm cooking, I can tune it out. But then when my girlfriend comes in the kitchen, she just unplugs it or turns it off. And then 2-3 days go by, I'm like, wait a second, it never got turned back on.
Yeah. We got that got shut down real quick. I had one at my house. Everyone else that lives in this house, i.e. Alexis, was like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. That was before I got my nice quiet one. That one was super loud. That was a Harbor Freight cheapo. It sounded
we've also got a really nice workshop at the club. So we've got a fully kitted out workshop with all the things you could imagine you want. So if I need something, they charge you $5 to use it for the night, the workshop. So I'm like, sweet.
That's
awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, if I'm ever in New Zealand, in the area, don't be surprised if I want to stop by and check out the club.
When you're done with your swim?
Yeah, you definitely should.
I'm either going to dog paddle there or just kind of float my back and just hope the current takes me there. I'll just Davy Jones it and just walk the ocean floor, no big deal.
Just literally walk.
There you go.
It's not that far.
You just wait for the right wind.
Yeah. But thanks for answering all those questions. Interrogation's over. Now we get into show and tell. Morne, you are up to bat first.
Well, I mean, how many things do you want to see? Quite a bit.
However many you want to
as
show.
you want. Yeah.
Okay. Feel free to cut out anything. I won't be offended if it's too much. Let me start with the petrified wood.
Yeah, be prepared to. I'll reach out to you after the podcast to get photos of the items so I can post.
I shared them on our chat.
Oh,
okay. But if you need
y'all didn't see all those?
I haven't been on it all today.
I was drilling.
Theo saw them.
Yeah, I saw them. That's why I was like, wait. Oh no, we might have to skip questions because
this is gonna be fun.
It all depends on when you share it. Because
I'll start with my newest one.
Ooh,
okay.
There you go.
Cool.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Kurt, you're still not on.
I'll start with my newest fossil.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Well, here we go. This is my newest fossil. I found this probably 6 hours ago. No, call it 12 hours ago. And this is a bit of, I suspect, plesiosaur. So you can see that's the vertebra over there. And if you flip it over, there's the other bits of the vertebra sticking out.
Nice.
So I'm excited about this one because this is a new area. I've never found a bone in it.
Nice.
That's cool.
I did know there was there's a big plesiosaur lying there, but it's a few hundred kilograms, hundreds of pounds. So this was a nice one I can carry away. and I found quite a bit of petrified wood there as well. So I'll start with some. Do you guys want to ask questions about them, or do I just keep going and you shout out questions?
We'll shout out. We'll intervene when necessary.
We're just kind of in awe right now.
Yeah. Let me pick up my dude. Yeah.
So I'll stay on the Cretaceous stuff. This is a piece of Cretaceous petrified wood. This is my first
yay.
ever
That's
round
cool.
I found.
That should take a polish.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll have to email you the scientific name, but I think it's related to the monkey puzzle tree, but don't quote me on that. Yeah, it's one of the trees that were quite common in New Zealand in the Cretaceous. And this is literally, I heard there was a site where you could find petrified wood, park my car, walk 5 meters. I'm like, there's a piece of petrified wood.
Oh, and that's
It was
such a
like-
good chunk too. It looks
Yeah.
completely like
Yeah,
you've got
and
the
you
heart
can-
there and everything.
Yeah, you can count the rings on it.
Oof.
And then from a similar area, probably half an hour away from that one, is this piece of petrified wood.
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I found this on my doorstep
Exactly.
on Friday last week. So someone from the club went there, and I'd helped him with some other things before, and he cut it, polished it, and sent it to me.
That's
And you
cool.
can see the calcite flowers in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
It's
cool.
a really nice calcite. Yeah,
So you wanna-
and you can also count the rings in it. And those bits in there is pyrite, so iron pyrite.
That's cool.
So you can polish it up to look nice and golden.
What era was that one from? Do you know?
Also Cretaceous, so
Okay.
these are both Cretaceous. And then I don't know if you've seen that video where I lugged out that 500-pound piece of wood, that huge one. So finally, I've had it cut. I'm not going to be able to pick it up because this piece here weighs 150 pounds. So,
Save your strength.
Right.
so I don't know if you can
Ooh.
see it there.
That's so
Wow.
Yes.
beautiful.
Nice.
Oh gosh.
Sorry,
Yeah,
you
I think I
get
remember that
closer.
video very well, and I was like, man, I hope
That's a tabletop. Are you kidding me?
Right? Yeah.
That's
I don't know if you can see
cool.
how thick it is. It's
Like 6-7 inches.
That's not petrified wood. That's a
Yeah.
coffee table.
Yeah, totally.
You can get one more cut
beautiful.
out of that, make it matching end tables.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a big piece of petrified wood. I think it's 600 millimeters wide, so that's divided by 25. What's that? 25 inches, 24 inches wide.
Wow.
So yeah, 2 feet
Nice.
wide,
Yeah.
and
So
I
cool.
think it's about
5, 6
about
inches.
5 inches thick. So it's a big piece of petrified wood. And
No
it's,
kidding.
it's full of full of iron pyrite and calcite and all sorts of things. Sorry, we've got a motorbike coming past here. But yeah, that's the one. It took me 3 weekends to get out of there because firstly there was a car-sized rock on top of it, so we had to get a car jack to jack it up a little bit, so we could get some pry bars underneath it to flip it over, and then had to get that onto my little wagon to pull it away. And then we built a sled because it was below the high tide mark, so it was quite far into the ocean. Built a sled, got it over the rocks with one of those chains, those hoists. So got it up there, got it up the hill, 5 kilometers back to the car, so 3 miles back to the car.
Wow.
That was quite the video, and yet you see that, and yep, that's why.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Why you do
exactly.
that?
It's worth every bit.
beautiful piece of wood.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I still need to
Incredible.
polish it, so I haven't polished it. I could send it off to someone to polish, but I thought I'm going to try it myself.
Oh no,
It's
try
gonna
it yourself.
take ages, but
For
yeah,
sure.
so definitely going to try that myself. Then
Awesome.
on the same part of the coast, I'll go back into some rock hounding things. There's something we call zebra stone.
Oh
So I
yeah.
don't know if you
Oh.
can see.
That
a
is
bit
so
of
cool.
zebra look
That is
to it.
unique. Yeah.
And it takes a really
That's
nice
cool.
polish. So it's the black part of the zebra stripe is flint,
Oh,
pink flint, and then it's is it limestone? Yeah, I think it's limestone. So it's
Wow.
limestone, and it's just been infilled with flint. And
That's
this
cool.
is not the best piece. So it's a little bit messy over there. But normally you get this zebra stripes going all the way through.
Yeah.
That's
So
so
you can
cool.
polish it up nicely.
That's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a cool geological story right there.
Very
right?
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's another piece.
Oh, cool.
So
I
That's really
love
cool.
that. Yeah. Beautiful.
Those look a lot like the cone and cone formations that we have in Montana.
Yeah.
They're less. They
Cone
don't
and
look like
cone.
anything if you cut it. Yeah, cone and cones are weird. I don't actually like know the geological formation of them, and I think it has a lot to do with it's like petrified mud flow basically. So like the way
Okay.
that
Yeah,
it's it's some weird stuff, but it's not cool when you polish it though.
Oh.
It's kind of just a gray rock.
I have a geologist friend. If you mention the word petrified mud, he's gonna shake his head. I always gave him flack for that, and hey, look, it's petrified mud, and he's just like,
Yeah. That's great.
I say it completely sarcastically, just because I don't remember the actual like way that it like what it is specifically. But yeah, after this, I'll be looking up cone and cone because now I don't remember what it is anyway.
And then one of my local rivers has this beautiful jasper.
Ooh,
So you get
That's
the
beautiful.
reds and the yellows. So yeah, it's
Gorgeous.
and then it's got that storm agate infill. So it's got a little bit of aggetized sections in there. And yesterday when I was looking for plesiosaur orbits, I found probably a 20-kilogram boulder. So
Oof.
about 50 pounds of this.
wow.
Yeah.
Score.
I've got enough of that. So my garden's full of this kind of thing. It's also got some kind of some kind of metal in them. I forget the name, but I don't want to say the wrong thing, but it's almost something like magnetite, but not quite.
Marcasite?
You get in there.
We have a lot of marcasite out here in our beach rocks, so maybe.
so that's actually kind of a good question. Do you have like collection limits as far as pounds go, or
No,
oh, lucky.
no. We've got something called greenstone, so punamu, which is jade, or it's called jade in other countries, and they the local iwi, which similar to tribes, but the local iwi have collection rights on those. So there's laws around that. That's the only stone I know of that's got laws around it. So you can't collect it from the rivers. You have to be part of that iwi. Also, don't quote me on this. Go look at there's a website that tells you all the rules. So, but you can collect little bits off the beach. So if you can carry it, I think the rule is, once again, take it with a pinch of salt. The rule is if you can carry it yourself without the help of a forklift or something like that, and it's on the beach, you can take it. But the iwi's got first dibs on it.
That's fair.
So if they see it while you carrying it back, it belongs to them. That was part of the treaty, I think. But I'm not from New Zealand, so I'm not across the history as much as I should be yet.
Well,
and then this is probably my favorite agate. So it's
Ooh,
nice.
Wow.
it's a moss
That's
agate.
beautiful.
So you can
yeah.
see a little bit of
Yeah.
moss. And I'm going to
Nice
get
polish.
my phone out because if you shine a light through the top, it looks pretty cool. I don't know if you'll see it there.
Oh,
But
yeah.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's a
it kind
whole
of looks like an underwater thing.
I was gonna say.
I was just
the
gonna say
reef.
that.
Did you polish that yourself?
No, there's the agate godfather, Malcolm Luxton, did it. And while we're talking about Malcolm Luxton, so he's got a museum. He calls it the Agate Orphanage. And it's just full of agates. He's been doing it for
That's cool.
decades. And he's literally written the book on agates.
Oh my goodness.
That's
Oh,
so
that's
He
cool.
has. Cool.
Yeah, so it's just full of beautiful photos of agates that he's found. So
Nice.
it's crazy.
That's so cool.
So cool.
Where
If
can
you can
people
get
buy
your
the
hand
book?
on this book,
You're right.
he's only got, I think, 20 left. But if you email me, I'll try and get it.
Very cool.
It's gonna say
It's a beautiful book.
Gorgeous.
It's got 320 pages, so it's beautiful. It's a coffee table
Ooh.
book. and they cost $80 New Zealand. So what's that, about $50 US?
Oh my gosh,
That's
that's
not
done.
bad at all.
That's a steal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Limited edition.
If you're interested, I can buy a bunch and ship them to one of you because that would be a lot cheaper.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
So,
Yeah, thank you for that.
yeah, so Malcolm polished that. He's the president of our lapidary club. So he does such a good job. Just like, if I find something good, he polishes it. It looks like a mirror.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
that's like that we're getting like Kyle level polish right there.
Oh,
Aw.
no, not me.
If you can see the reflection of the room, that's saying something.
Yeah.
And that's agates I found in this forestry area. So you need permission to go in there. And it was in the middle of winter, and there's this little stream. So if you dig into this mud, the frozen mud, you start getting these agates out of that. So my fingers were so numb and so cold. You can't get the wood and all sorts there, but it's beautiful.
What we do for
That's my
rocks.
one and only moss agate. So I had to show it.
Gorgeous. Awesome.
Yeah, we do weird things for rocks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's worth it.
Yeah, we do. This is what I'm working on at the moment. That's a fossil whale ear bone.
Woohoo.
That's
so
cool.
I do find them quite often, but not normally in little bits of rock like this. Normally they're in like 100-kilogram rock that I have to carry up a cliff, And so this is the bulla. You get two main bones, the periodic and the bulla. So this is the bulla, and it's broken off on this side. Otherwise, it would look very much like a ear, that same shape. And yeah, you get the bulla, the periodic, and then it's got 3 tiny bones connecting them. I might be wrong on the number, but yeah. So this is all acid prep. I've just been leaving it in vinegar for a day, taking it out, leaving it in fresh water for 2 days, and then you cover the newly exposed bits of bone with B72. It's coming out really well. Very, very happy with how it's turned out. I'll show you what they look like in the rock.
I always think like there's no way I would know if I found that even on the beach that was a whale ear. Like, you need to see this stuff.
I wasn't sure. I was like, I think this is a whale. Yeah, I'm going to take it back. It's small. But I think this is another one. Well, it is another one, but I'm not sure how much is actually in the rock. It might just be a sliver, or it might be, a bit to it. So this is one of the next ones I'll prep.
That is so cool.
Pop that in some acid as well.
Always busy.
I've probably got 4 more in my garden to prep.
In the garden.
Yeah.
They're in queue.
Yeah,
So the texture of the substance of that ear bone, it looks different than, say something that
way different,
yeah, more porous. Like, so what would you liken it most to? What is it? I mean, it almost looks like chert.
Yeah, I would say chert or jasper. So it's that dense. It doesn't look like bone.
Wow.
Like these little bits on that side, it's so dense. It looks like a jasper, but you can see the tiny folds in it.
Okay.
And it gets really tricky because if it's been on the beach for a while and it's been rolling around and tumbling around, it might not have that shape, and you won't see the bone texture at all. It will just be smooth. So yeah, this was a lucky find because I saw that little S shape, and I'm like, I've seen that before somewhere.
Know what that is?
I just wonder how many ears I've
that
chucked
little
back because
curve
it was
there.
just a piece of jasper.
Yes.
I'm still just flabbergasted
Yeah,
at the concept of prepping fossils with acid.
Oh, yeah.
all of our
Oh, yeah.
fossils, like all of our baculites and ammonites, they're pretty much all calcified. So you don't want to put those
So
in
you
acid.
wouldn't. No. So a few people have asked, can they prep crabs like that? No, you can't prep crabs or shells. You want bone because bone forms that phosphate, which the acid will work on it, but it works on it a lot slower, and it will prefer to work on the calcium carbonate rock. So you can't leave it in there for weeks and expect the bone to stay fine. Also, what I've realized is that the gem bone part of bone, sometimes that little crystal inside there's calcite, and vinegar loves calcite. So
Yes,
when
it
I say
does.
acid, it's vinegar. So it's between 5 and 10%. So you need to cover it with your B72, otherwise the acid will go in those little holes and keep going, and then at the end you've got a sponge for a bone, and it just kind of crumbles.
Oh,
And we don't want
So you
that.
have to be careful with that.
Mm-mm.
No, we don't.
No, but like anything I've done, I've started on things that I'm not worried if it messes it up. So little random bits of bone that's got no scientific value, and I test on that. So I tested until I get used to it. So I started off on sulfamic acid, which someone told me to try, which is a lot stronger, and it really messed up one of my chest bones. I'm like, no, let me go for acetic acid, and you can also buffer it. So you can put calcium phosphate into the acid, so the solution gets, what's the word? It gets
Diluted?
satiated, something like that. It will stop working on calcium phosphate because it's got so much in solution already.
Oh, okay.
But I haven't found it
Super
necessary with the
saturated.
ones I'm working on. Yeah, you can super saturate it. That's a good word for it. While we're talking on bones, so I showed you this one. This was my first proper fossil prep in acid.
That's
And
amazing.
Yeah. And so I sent this off to that plesiosaur paleontologist, and he was very interested in that little groove down there. So if you can see that little thing,
Yeah.
because he hadn't seen that before. So that's a new element that he hasn't seen before. So that was cool. He asked for more and more photos of it. So because every little groove in this, vertebra is probably some form of identifiable bit, and it's got 2 holes at the bottom, and they think that's where extra blood supply was going in, because plesiosaurs have such long necks, potentially. So that's really diagnostic for plesiosaur.
That is so cool.
Then this is my current big prep as well. That's a whale mandible.
Nice.
What?
That
Yeah.
is
You can
crazy.
see over on that side. It's got a
Wow.
hole at the top there where there was a big vein, I think, or blood supply, something like that. But that's how you tell it's a mandible. And it's got a really big groove at the top. I don't know if you see that.
Yeah. I see
Yeah.
that.
So I'm not sure if that's where the baleen was. I need to go figure or read up on it a bit. I'm not sure. So
That is
that's
so
fascinating.
Also,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
and it's really big and chunky. And the reason I brought it home is I think I've got the bit that goes on here in my garden from a
Cool.
previous time. So I'm gonna go see if they fit together.
Wouldn't that be something?
I was gonna
Oh
say,
my
how big
gosh.
would that animal have been, or is there any way to tell with that section
Big.
of?
Big.
That's big.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say that's
There
like
is
that's
probably-
huge.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking 10 meters plus, probably.
Yeah.
It's big.
Wow.
I mean, the
That is so
whales, that is from around about 6 million years old.
Okay.
So the whales were getting bigger. So the later whales are bigger than the early whales, I think.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll show you some cool things. I'll show you something that I'm struggling with. This is the smallest little bit of bone that I've ever tried to
Oh
pick.
wow.
Wow.
Tiny, tiny, tiny.
Wow.
What is
So
that?
I've been using acid. Unsure, I don't know yet. But what's actually happened, I'll send you a close-up photo of it so you can put it on screen now. But what's actually happened, I think, is sometimes when bones sit on the bottom of the ocean, bacteria starts, degrading it. So you call it, there's a word for it, but environmental. Yeah. So it gets eaten away by the bugs on the bottom of the ocean, basically. And I think that's what happened to this. So the bones are all messed up and chewed up. They're not coming out, well.
Wow.
And that probably means that the other side of it, so the side that was probably in the mud, should be okay. So I'm thinking of stopping on this side and just covering it with something, and then starting from that side, which is the much bigger side, which I was hoping not to do.
Right.
The more work side.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. The cool thing is if you've got access to a university lab, they can neutron scan these. So X-rays don't really penetrate it well. But over in Australia, they've got a neutron scanner called the Dingo, which will probably do a really good job of scanning this. And if you scan it at a high enough resolution, you can then just 3D print the fossil out without having to remove it. So
Wow.
That's
That's
crazy.
I want one.
All right.
Yeah.
Where can I
add that
get
to
one
the
of those?
bucket list.
A couple more
Right, pretty
tools for
much.
the
You just need a
workshop.
nuclear. The problem is you need a nuclear reactor, and New Zealand's nuclear free, so we don't have any nuclear reactors. So that's why Australia is the closest one to us.
Yeah, I don't have any of those lying around.
Mm.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Yeah. Dang it.
Then one of the other thing I'm prepping at the moment, also with acid, and this is probably scientifically valuable. This is a bird. So
Oh, cool.
Ooh.
over
That's
there is
cool.
the sternum. So, and maybe a penguin, maybe not, but we don't know yet because there's not enough.
Maybe
You could only see a few little
Yeah.
bones when you started. Yeah. So I've been prepping this for about a month now. So this is a month of acid prep,
Wow.
and I've probably gone down 6 millimeters. So what's that, a quarter of an inch I've gone into the rock. So it's a very slow process, but gives you a really great result.
That is so cool.
Probably
Yeah, that
halfway
is
there.
awesome.
incredible.
But once again, this is from an area where there's been no birds identified. So it could be a new species if there's enough diagnostic bones in there. So,
That
Fingers
is
crossed.
awesome. Right? Yeah.
Cool.
and this is the first one that I felt confident enough to try and prep myself. And usually I would have said, no, someone else prep it. But I don't know if you can see, but just have a look at how tiny those bones are. So if
Wow.
you
Tiny.
you mess up,
Yeah.
they're going to be gone.
And hollow. Yeah.
No pressure.
Right.
Yeah. Just having a look around what else I've got close at hand. I've got another. I'll try and lift this one up as it's a big one.
Do it.
Oh,
So
wow.
there's another whale mandible.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
That
Yeah,
is
it's
so
crazy.
I think that's yet bigger.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Bigger and better.
But that's another one I need to prep.
Just lifting
Those
big rocks
whales
like no
sure
big
are
deal.
big. Yep.
Oh. And that one, so on a whale mandible, so if you imagine a human jaw, so you've got a hinge, or you've got features on this side, a hinge,
Right.
which is a diagnostic on whales. So I'm hoping that's in there. That's why I brought it
Oh,
home.
cool.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, so if
Wow.
it's got that attachment, then they can tell you what kind of whale it is, and up to a species, I think.
Wow.
Then, don't know if you can recognize that. So that's a crayfish. So there's a crayfish in there. And it reminds me of a tempura prawn. So it's just been battered.
That is so cool.
That's a monster prawn.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's got these long claws going up the front, and they had really tiny pincers on them. So that's what's coming out this side. And that's just the curve of the tail at the back there.
Oh yeah.
that is
Okay.
amazing.
Yeah.
The thing with these things are they're so thin, you can't use the air scribe on them really. So I'm going to have to use my micro air abrasion kit.
Mhm.
So I've got one from the States, actually. It's called a Pro Blast, I think. From
Wow,
Bannyman,
cool.
something like that.
Huh.
It's just a problem getting the right grit size because it has to be between 50 and 100 microns. So I just need to I ordered the right size mesh so I can make it for myself. But then once that's done, hopefully I can use air abrasion to bring this out.
Yeah.
That is so
That'll
cool.
be a
Weird little
very
thing.
neat specimen when you're done.
I agree.
Yeah, it's very complete. And this is my first crab I ever prepped. When I look at it now, I'm all like
Aw.
cringy.
Oh,
Oh,
oh come
so
on.
So, like, I really should have done more to it.
No. It's good to see where you came from.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Then if you look at, where it got to with the
Yeah,
that's the big boy
right?
crab, I think.
Bam.
But what I never show people is on the back, where I went on the wrong side first.
You're like, where is it? Where is it?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So, yeah,
That is
Beautiful
so
job.
that's the same species. This is a 2-meter Castinus giganteus. You can see why they call it a giganteus.
Yes.
That is so cool.
That's middle Miocene. So
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
Crab
That
is
took
at the
200
top
hours,
of my bucket
but-
list.
Beautiful job prepping it.
you definitely need to go to either Washington State, I think they've got them.
Just
Maybe in
with us.
Oregon as well. Don't you have them in
We
Oregon?
do. We got them, but they're
Yeah.
like
I
few
know
and far
that's
between, and they're little. And so, yeah, I
was
keep
gonna
on
say-
thinking that one day I'm going to walk down the beach and I'm going to pull a Mamlambo, but
I know that's been your white whale, Karen.
it is my white whale. Yeah.
No,
This is one from States. I think that's from Washington.
That would be
Wow.
yeah.
nice.
That
That's
Bulgaria.
cool.
Awesome. Yeah.
That is so cool.
Mm. Yeah, someone sent it to me. It's like, here's one from the States. I'm like, cool.
Uh,
Beautiful one as well.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's gorgeous.
That's awesome.
That's a very thoughtful
Um,
gift too, because it takes time to prep those
Yeah.
and find them.
Yeah, it does. And then this is my favorite crab. And this was prepped by a friend of mine, Dustin.
Ah, that's so good.
Wow.
Both
That's cool.
sides.
Yeah,
That's
he's
Wow.
really good.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Wow. You
I
just
mean,
need that like on,
if you look at it, it's
like the
quite thin.
perpetual spinner, like
Yeah, he did such a great job on it.
Oh, that is amazing.
And that's the one I turned into a 3D model. So with photogrammetry, I took a whole bunch of photos and then you put it in the software and it spits out a 3D model. And yeah, it's so cool how it
very
does that.
impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could watch that
Yeah.
all day again. Spinning and
Here's something I haven't shown anyone before. So this is an exclusive. This is my crab and it's turned to pyrite. So it's a golden crab.
Oh, what?
That's
Wow.
amazing.
no, my bucket list just enlarged. That's incredible.
The top of it's normal crab. Yeah, it's normal crab up top there, and then it hits a line and turns into pyrite.
Ah.
So-
That's
That's
crazy.
amazing.
That's
Beautiful.
so cool.
Ah.
And it's really weird. So I stopped prepping it because it's sticky. It doesn't come, off the crab at all. So I was waiting for my air abrasion kit to arrive. Because it's also got some kind of growth on it. I don't know if you can see. It's got those veins on it.
Yeah.
No way.
Interesting.
Not sure.
Do you think it's like a predator
Yeah.
that's on there?
I think it's some kind of coral or something that's just kind of started growing over it.
That's cool.
That's amazing.
It's so cool.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
It's
right
pretty
there.
cool, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's weird because you see the legs over there, but then it's got this weird bump on there. So I don't know what's going on there. Was it injured or is it part of another crab that's coming to this concretion?
A death
Wow.
plate of crabs.
Can you
You're
imagine?
killing me, Kyle. Can you imagine that concretion? Like
Oh, that'd be
never,
s-
no one
that'd be
saw
cool.
Karen ever again.
I'm sure it's probably out there. It has
Oh,
to
yeah.
be just a death plate of like several crabs just like together.
All hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 2 concretions with multiple crabs in there, so they are out
Ooh.
That is so cool.
there. That'll be a difficult prep because normally I at least know vaguely where the legs are going to be. It makes it a lot easier. If you don't know, if you have surprise legs, that's normally when you bust through them.
Surprise legs. Yeah, I could see how that would complexify things a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just looking at what else is down here.
That is so cool.
This is that's also Cretaceous, and that's also a billfish. So that's the bill of a billfish.
Oh,
I don't know where the rest
cool.
of it is.
Amazing.
Wow.
Where are
The
the
only
rest of
thing-
you?
Yeah, that's what was visible, just that little bit down there. And I thought it was a plesiosaur rib, so I took it home. But it's got fluting on it, so it's probably some protospiransis. No, I've got it completely wrong, but the proto something, so it's a proto bowfish, I think.
That is so cool.
Nice.
Insane.
Again, I can't even imagine.
I can't either.
Well,
His workshop is
that's
blowing my mind.
That's the same day. That's the same day I drowned my first camera. So I went when the river was still in flood. So
Oh no, I'm
I was
sorry.
like wading through it like this, holding everything up top here, and I went into a hole. And it went bloop, bloop, bloop.
Oh
no.
I'm like, oh well. It was bound to happen at some point.
Yeah.
Put a bag of rice, it'll be fine.
That's what I thought when I
I
flipped
did,
my
and
kayak.
Yeah, it lasted for another month, and then I think it just packed up. It corroded, and it was beyond rescue.
Oh man.
It's reached down, and this is another Cretaceous find. So this is articulated vertebra. I don't know if you can see they're going
Oh,
all
yeah.
around it.
Yeah.
That is so
Bottom end.
cool.
Oh.
Yeah. I thought it was a paddle bone at first, but it's definitely, I think, vertebra going down it. So it's the tail of something, some plesiosaur maybe, and then it's got random shark teeth also in amongst it.
Not
Also
fair.
as a bonus.
What?
Nah.
What?
No.
That's incredible.
Random shark teeth.
No big
that's
deal.
right over there.
Yeah, it's weird.
So cool.
I was gonna say, Kyle, when I was in Florida, he was showing me some of his fossils. Have you ever found any with feeding damage? Because he was showing me a dugong bone that had a giant deep gouge that literally matched up perfectly to a megalodon tooth.
I haven't yet. No, I haven't. I've also been, thinking I want to find that. Yeah, I haven't found it. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Given the amount of whale bones I've got, there must be one with a bite in it.
I was
The
gonna say,
closest I've come to that is I found shark teeth in amongst the bones. So from dog sharks, where they must have been biting away at the bone and little, teeth fall out.
yeah,
So that's the closest I've come to it.
yeah.
That's still cool.
I was
That
gonna say,
is-
there's got to be at least
Still
one with
jealous.
feeding damage in there.
I know.
Yeah. I haven't been prepping bone for all that long. I was focused on the crabs for quite a while. Probably my first year and a bit. I was doing lots of crab fossils.
Understandably.
And then getting used to bone. Yeah. But it was more, I was kind of building up to that big crab because I found the big crab like 2 years ago. And I didn't want to, try and prep it before I was ready for it. So I did a whole bunch of tiny ones.
That's smart though.
one.
Yeah.
And then this is my 3D model of that other crab.
Oh, cool.
So you can print them out.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That is awesome.
Wow.
Wow.
A little consolation prize.
Yeah.
Yes. I could print it out as full size, but I think the printer only went to that size, the bed on the printer. Try and do maybe for next year's Makers Challenge is then use that where you cast it, that where you lose the model. So you would cast it
Yeah.
out of some kind
Lost
of metal,
wax
and it would
cast or-
burn this away.
Yeah.
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 That would be
That
so
would
So
be-
imagine you do something like this and you get it in metal where it's got all the little grooves and things to it.
That'd be
That
cool.
would be amazing. Aluminum cast. That would be so cool.
Yeah.
Or bronze. You could do bronze.
Yeah, bronze would look nice.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it would.
But
The
there's-
museums would be all like, yes, please.
Right? That would be amazing.
Cool. I'll show you this crab before I show you the mystery one that maybe someone can identify. This is how I found it on the beach. So I haven't even prepped it. That's the back
Wow.
of it,
Crazy.
and that's the front.
Wow.
Pre-prep
That is
for you.
amazing.
All the work is
Yeah,
done
it
for
was
Yeah.
just lying there. And
Thank you, nature.
it was not even 5 minutes from the pathway or 5 meters from the pathway, like 10, 15 feet away.
Oh, wow.
Maybe
That's a
someone
good
found
day.
it and prepped it and then went back and laid it out there.
Yeah,
To get
seeded
some
the beach for
natural
you.
weathering.
Then this is also from a Cretaceous area, so I don't know what it is. I'm going to have to prep it one day. So I've been waiting till I get a bit better before I prep it. But it's got a weird rock, so it's got all these crystals in those little caves over there, so calcite crystals. But then it's got what looks like bone sticking out there. And I'll send you some photos so you can put it on here. But if that's bone, it's really thin and it's going all the way around.
Oh, yeah.
To
Wow.
that section over
Wow.
there.
That's cool.
And if it is bone, it's hollow. So maybe something flying, or is it just a crab leg? But it would be a Cretaceous crab leg, so that'd be something cool as well. So if someone
Nice.
recognizes that little joint over there,
If this bone
maybe
is
put it in
yours.
the chat. Yeah. Get in touch and leave a comment.
Right.
Help a guy out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's pretty much all the fossils and things I've got to show.
Wow.
That's right.
Sorry.
I was you said that's all the fossils you have in your shop, and I was like, at least in that room, right? Yeah, more.
Yeah. No, yeah. I've got an overflow area there, and then I've got the garden, which is the Wild West. I've got a Cretaceous corner, then I've got a Miocene middle.
Aw.
That is awesome.
Well, Brian did say that he was going to show us his backyard, next time. Maybe we go to your garden next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a backyard episode.
Right.
You're right. Yeah.
That would be a good one.
Well, thank
All
you.
right.
Thanks so much for listening to all that.
Well,
Of
thank you
course.
so
that
much
was
for
a
showing.
pleasure. Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
That was a treat.
Yeah.
So, Karen, you're next.
Yeah, like I have
No
to
pressure.
follow that. Yeah. I only have one rock, okay? But this special rock came off of also a beach that has the Middle Miocene era going on, Astoria Formation, and my 83-year-old dad insisted that my brother and I schlepp this thing out. He would not leave. Because I was like, I don't know. And then I'm so glad that he made us, because we could just see a little bit showing. And so then after I got it home and started playing with it some more, this guy has stuff kind of coming off of every angle. And so what I thought was really interesting, actually, at first, was that this angle that you see here has a triangle, and the span comes out. And actually, Morne helped out already with this bad boy. And you had seen, let's see, you got the spinous process, right? And so what that looks like. And Kyle, there's the labeled one that we can put up right now. It's over here on this side. So there's like this snake tongue looking thing, and it comes off of a vertebrae and attaches to another, right? Is that how that works? Or yeah.
You're looking at it like that. So you're looking at the top. That's where the snake tongue part normally is.
Uh-huh. And so it's
Yeah,
interesting because it traces down to our triangle here, which would be the hole in the vertebrae if it was like a cervical, right? Something like that, or
I think so. Yeah.
any of them. So I need to do more work, but that means that vertebrae is like this big, right, in there, because that's the triangle hole of it. And so also another interesting aspect of this is
I just gotta wrestle it into shape.
Morne. So you can see this bright piece here. This is coming off of that triangle is here. The top part is there. And there's this and this, and they look like ribs. And so,
It does look like ribs, though.
yeah. And so I might have something that's potentially articulated here. What do you think?
Yeah.
That or
Could
else
well be all
it fell
collapsed
very,
on itself.
yeah, exactly. Or it compacted nicely in the little death plate or whatever. But there's several vert shapes, which is, one of them is pointed out in the labeled piece. And there's some other angles of this, but this definitely needs to get prepped. And so there's going to be a large tote with a lot of vinegar in it. We're going to be making some sauerkraut.
Just make sure you get a lid.
Yeah, no kidding.
I've made the mistake of not putting a lid on.
There's got to be some strange animals that commingle, like the insects and things like that want to come in and join the party. Yeah, I've had like my little specimen jars all around, like weird bubbling things. Don't invite people over when this is going on at your house.
Yeah.
They walk in, hey, how's it? Oh.
Yeah. It smells of vinegar, and there's like, Silence of the Lambs stuff going on your shelves. So what's up with you? But
yeah. That hits close to home because I keep skulls, non-fossil skulls, because I do skull carvings.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, sometimes they need to be degreased, and so sometimes at the shop downstairs there's literal totes with skulls just sitting in fluid so that I can degrease them.
What's it to you?
Yeah, exactly. That's a skull, whatever.
So at any rate, that's my my bone jambalaya. Thank you so much for helping out, Morne, and getting me as far along with some of that identification as I've got going on. And Kurt?
Yeah, and I hope I'm correct.
What's that?
I said I hope I got it correct.
Oh yeah, believe me, yeah, everything is farther along than I am, so it's all good.
Kurt?
How about you, Kurt?
Oh, sorry. I was just focused on listening. For my show and tell, because of Karen and Theo and the whole iris thing. By the way, Karen, your video on iris was agate was amazing. Like
Thank
very
you.
educational. And
Thanks.
I liked it a whole ton. It was an awesome video.
Thank you.
So my show and tell is iris agate, but so like 2 weeks ago I cut this one, and this is an iris, and in about 2-3 weeks after the Makers Challenge ends, I will be cutting this one open, and I'm hoping this one is an iris. There's some really tight banding, and it looks like there's some like possible chances that it is. So I'll be cutting that one in the near future. But today I was cutting a couple pieces, and I don't know if y'all can see it, but this one is definitely. Hold on, see if I can get a flashlight. Oh, nope. Hold on.
Yeah, that's what I tried.
this.
I learned during our show with Lapidary Dave.
Nope.
His camera just does not like it.
But it has a nice. This one is definitely an iris, so I'll get a
Yes.
video and send it to Kyle. But there's this one, and then this one I was working on the flat lap, and I'm on stage like 3, which is like 300, the brown disc. So there's scratches in it I still need to get out. But this one is an iris, even though it is pretty thick. If you get in the right lighting, it shows the rainbow colors. But then there's a really nice orange twinsy going around that iris. So yeah, those are my show and tell pieces, and I'm gonna when I get these two polished, I'm gonna wrap them and then list them on my Etsy store. So that's
Heck yeah.
Bravo.
So this I'll have a shorts video on this one this upcoming Monday, and so yeah, Those are my show and tells.
Thank you.
Sweet.
And
Richard.
thank you, Karen, for your show and tell. I don't remember if I thanked you or not, but thank you also. Theo, what do you got?
So,
Nope.
in
Richard.
honor of having the YouTube fossil prepping master on the show tonight, I brought my favorite fossil that I've ever prepped. I've only had a scribe for about a year now, so I'm still getting the hang of everything, but I think we're getting better. So this is my favorite specimen that I've ever prepped with my scribe, and this is what I refer to as the Montana Bear Paw Shale Big Three. The big three are like the three main ones that you want to be looking for, and that's baculites. We have a lot of baculites in Montana. This one actually is loaded. I'll point out some more in a second. Ceramid clams. There's the clams with that have the deep ridges, and then Placentaceras. This might actually be a sphenodiscus now that I think about it. Either way, a big ammonite. Big ammonite in here. And I doubt very much.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I still need to go through. I actually intentionally flaked off some of the outer shell because I wanted to leave. I need to go back and flake off a little more because it's completely calcified. There's some amazing sutures in here. So I was thinking if I polish it from here up, you can get the good sutures, but this actually is amylite. I just haven't polished it well enough yet. So this has some really, really nice reds and greens. So I'm thinking if I get a little bit deeper down, we can have a nice sutures show off on the top and then actual like vibrant rainbow amylite down on the bottom. That's
Nice.
a really cool one. I loved it. And then I found this completely on accident. I was actually prepping this baculite, and these, like, here, if I could spin it around, you can see there's just cracks throughout the whole thing because these things just sit out in the middle of the prairie. So they experience negative 30 degrees in the winter, and then they experience 110 degrees in the summer. So they experience weather like crazy. So by the time you get them back to the shop, they're already super cracked up. And I was prepping this baculite right here, and the scribe just kind of popped in. I was flaking, I was going slow and flaking, and it kind of just popped in, and this entire plate just like fell off. And lo and behold, there was just this amazing ammonite just sitting in the middle. I lost it. I was so excited. But then, I mean, you flip it around, there's clam here. There's 3 more clam shells on the back. Really nice baculite that I need to polish still. If you look, it's actually completely calcified. So that one's going to have some really nice sutures, but not more little baculite. I mean, the closer you get in on this, I think you can see it in some of the pictures that I sent. There's just fossils throughout this entire thing. Another baculite right here. It's just
Nice.
just loaded. And then another cool thing is this was actually, this face right here was on the outside, but I don't think I got a very good picture of it, but you can see there's a little knob right here. If I not angle it a little bit, see how it's kind of like smooth right here, and there's like a little knob right here. This is actually the negative from where another ammonite about the same size was sitting.
Wow.
So I was so sad because if I had gotten that part of the concretion together, there would have been an ammonite right here and then another one about the same size just sitting right on the other side.
Wow.
But yeah, this one is one of my favorites. I really, really like this one. And actually, I don't know if it's going to be able to show or not, but that is actually, you can kind of see that little zigzag pattern right in there, maybe? I don't know if it's going to show. That's actually a suture, which means right there is actually a piece, like just a little tiny cross section from a much larger ammonite. Like given the width of that piece right there, that was probably, let's see, it's about that big, and that's just one, like, that's the equivalent of this space in between this outer edge and the inner coil. So, I mean, that one probably was about twice the size of this one right here. I love that site so much. That Bear Paw Shale Cretaceous stuff is just so much fun to hunt for. As soon as,
That's an amazing piece.
oh, thank you. As soon as it's not, there's still snow over there because it's actually a higher elevation than where I'm at. So as soon as it thaws, I'm going to be going over there for sure. And this is from my hunt on Monday. So it's the biggest agate that we found that day. Sorry, I'm getting it wet. Shows way better. So it's the biggest agate that I found that day.
Wow.
It's a really nice one. And you can actually see it fractured right along the water lines. These are actually water lines.
Yeah.
That's big.
Right. You can see it's going to be really dark too. There's some really,
Yeah.
really nice. I don't know. Dang zoom camera always. There we go. You can actually see there's
yeah, you
so
can see the
much
water line
moss
there.
banding in there.
Yeah,
I-
you can see the lines.
Yeah. And it's got some really
Cut,
nice
cut.
moss. Like, oh yeah, this one's absolutely gonna get cut. That's gonna be beautiful.
It'll take a polish.
It will absolutely take a polish.
So well, steal my line.
You were drinking, so I had to say it for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
This video comes out Saturday, but seriously, we found like trying to think like 6 or 7 that were in this size range. This was the biggest one, but we were just finding monster agates. It was such a good day. But the other monster thing we were finding, not end table size, but we found some really nice big chunks of petrified wood, and this one is one of the weirdest pieces of Montana petrified wood I've ever seen in my life. It's crazy. So there's pictures showing for everyone viewing at home right now, but I'm going to do my best to see if I can get it to show on the zoom camera. So this one's super weird, and I kept it just because I saw this end grain like right in here. I was like, yeah, that's just a nice big chunk of petrified wood. And then the sun came out from behind the clouds and it started glowing like an agate, and I was so confused. So if here, let me see if I can get it to cooperate on camera. Maybe, come on, flashlight, work with me. There we go.
Yeah,
See how
yeah.
it's glowing?
Yeah.
Good.
So this thing has chalcedony veins throughout the whole thing, like that. Are you gonna cooperate? Maybe. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
see the veins, but they all end at this big pocket right on the end. And this is so difficult to do over the Zoom camera.
That'll take a polish.
It will take a wonderful polish, but it has banding and moss, and I mean it's just stereotypical perfect Montana agate, just mixed in with petrified wood. It's super
That's
cool.
That is crazy.
And some of those
Awesome
pockets,
combination.
like over in here, some of the pockets actually have orange jasper inside. So this is what I
Oh, wow.
refer to as a trifecta rock. The Yellowstone River trifecta
Yeah.
is the Montana agates, petrified wood, and jasper, and there's literally all 3 in this one rock. It's got these amazing betrayal pockets that are filled with druzy. It's so cool. I've never.
Cut.
Yeah, absolutely. This thing's gonna be
Or just
insane.
polish just the surface.
Right? Just polish the whole thing. I'm thinking I might just literally just cut it in half and then
Tumble.
double it. It's like 9
Everyone
pounds.
has a vote. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I have a tumbler big enough for this thing. But yeah,
Yeah,
Those
that's
were-
shoes in the dryer big time.
you should. Right? Yeah.
Oh, so what
So-
you could do, Theo, you could put it in a bucket and then tie it to your tire. So when you're driving on the highway, it's
Yeah, and just or just like swing it around for a month.
He's yoked at the end of the month. Like Theo is
Yeah.
just like, yeah.
So yeah, that video comes out on Saturday, tomorrow when this comes out. And yeah, these 2 rocks right here should be a perfect example of how that video was. There's just big rocks all day long
cool.
Nice.
for the Yellowstone, especially. Oh, here, now
I
that
love
it's
it.
soaked in a bit, look at that banding on there.
Ooh.
Mm.
That
Wow.
is like this entire end part right here is just solid Montana agate, but then the rest is petrified wood. It's so cool. It's also very heavy.
It was so cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for your
No,
show
thank
and tell.
you.
So we got my show and tell here. So I went to a rock shop, like I said earlier today, and if I hadn't gotten laid off, I wouldn't have gone to the rock shop because I wouldn't have had time to leave work. So digging through this pile of big rock, and there's petrified wood, agates, obsidian in there. Of course, my main focus is obsidian because that's just my thing.
Oh, Bob.
There were some really nice petrified wood cut slabs that were nice full rounds, but again, wasn't my focus. So I'll have another video here too, but this is kind of what it looks like rough. And you wouldn't think that's fire obsidian. It just looks like regular volcanic glass. But in the video that I'm going to put right here, you can see the different colors. And there's actually 2 layers that are immediately visible. The bottom layer is yellow, reds, and oranges. And there's a layer just above it that look like it might have a lot of green in it. So I'm hoping to get that kind of worked at some point here soon and get that polished up. And then there's a piece behind me. It's a little bit bigger. It's a lot bit bigger. So this is a good sized chunk. Now I paid $33 for these two pieces and another two pieces. The fourth piece I bought is not fire obsidian, it's just a ribbon lace. I thought it was cool. But this front piece here, it actually has some color. I might be able to do some teaser footage because I was going to do a small video and just clean this stuff up and showing it. But this face here has a few layers in there. So I was going to see if Karen can maybe use her big saw to kind of cut off this face.
I didn't know you worked with the fire obsidian. It's the first time hearing it.
Yes, how did you get that nomiker smog?
Well, and the thing is, like, I have other projects that are taking priority right now, but like I have like several big pieces of fire obsidian that I want to polish up, and two of which, so this is the smaller one right here is definitely one of them, but there's another one that I think has purples in there, and they are going to be bright, flashy pieces, and they will not be for sale. They'll end up in my private collection. And because it's hard, like you post these videos and you have people say, "Oh man, is that for sale?" It's like, I'm sorry, but it's not. Because I don't know, black opal's cool, and don't hate me for this, but still, like, fire obsidian is like my number one thing. But I would like to make a black opal fire obsidian pendant someday. Best of both worlds, but
No, I feel you on that one. Amylite, I prefer amylite over any opal.
Yeah.
Personally.
But that was my show and tell, and now we can get into words of wisdom. Morne, what do you got?
Ooh, words of wisdom. It's a tricky one. How do you normally use the words of wisdom? Is it just something you've heard or something you live by?
Anything.
Anything you want.
All the above.
Well, yeah. Probably what I try and do and what I try and show is don't be scared to try something. Like, I've got no training in science. I've got no training in prepping. It's just trying things and seeing what works. So yeah, that's, give it a shot.
Oh no, I'm frozen.
You're fine.
Oh,
You're,
on my
you're
screen.
left.
Sorry. I'm sorry. On my screen, I'm making a weird face and I'm frozen.
You just said that in the most like tiny voice.
I thought like y'all couldn't hear me, and
I'm leaving that in.
I'm sorry for interrupting.
We have to. Oh, you can't cut that.
Otherwise,
I'm sorry.
Keep it in.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Those were good words, though, Morne.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. Yeah, I think that's really important for folks to be, knowing that you can just dive in. I mean, like, don't worry about people being schmerzy about it. Do your thing, learn as you go along, and hopefully you'll meet good people, because there are good people in the community that'll help you out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We all stand on each other's shoulders.
Absolutely, and I loved.
Yeah.
Sorry. I love what he said earlier about practicing on, like, not so much lesser fossils, but I guess kind of lesser fossils first. Like, you don't want to dive in on your perfect stuff. Like, that's totally how I learned how to prep fossils. Was I would find those little small broken baculites, and that's totally like what I practiced on, because it didn't matter if I ruined it. There's 10 million more of them out here.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Right on. I think my words of wisdom, based on this is my Sheila. Those of you who watch Pulitzer,
Love Pulitzer.
So if I hadn't listened to my dad, I wouldn't have this to indulge in now. I didn't know how much into this I was going to be when we all found this, and now I live in fossil prep hunting, all, the research, all of it is so exciting. So listen to your dad. Is my words of wisdom. Or if he didn't offer advice, ask for it. So, maybe he's got something good. Thanks for inspiring me to move rocks, Dad. And same with you, Mom. So my words of wisdom.
Thank you. Gert.
All right. Am I frozen?
No.
No.
He's
got a complex now.
I have a very serious look on my screen, and I'm frozen, but y'all aren't.
You're good.
That is not my words. Don't be frozen. No.
Don't be frozen.
The other day I went hiking, like I said earlier in the episode, and I know, and we've touched this subject quite a few times, but when you go out, do not litter. Like, pick up your trash. Like, there was so much trash littered all over the place, and it's so sad to see that. So just please pick up your trash whenever you go out, and whatever you take in, take out with you. So keep the land clean.
Yeah.
It's the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, we all bring bags and things. Some of us trolleys and other helicopters. So you've got the gear to take it out with you.
Thank you, Kurt. Theo?
I think mine would be just a simple stay positive. I had a pretty rough week this week, and even amidst all of the bad stuff, there was still like plenty of stuff to be positive about. Like, we were really worried about our kitty, and her mobility may never come back, but she's fine. Personality wise, she's the same cat. And I may have been running on empty all week because I was like, helping her get around and stuff. But even still, decided to go out on Monday, and we were rewarded for staying positive and just heading out anyway. So yeah, just no matter how tough stuff gets, and it may be hard sometimes, just stay positive.
Yep.
It's like we were talking about with Brian last week. You tend to get the energy that you put out into the world will come back to you.
Yeah. No, thank you for those words, because you're not wrong at all. Positivity is it's good to have. But my words of wisdom, and I cannot stress this enough. So I made a post about this on my channel, but Lego, someone made a idea for a Lego set for minerals and based off minerals and crystals. Well, it's now in a voting process, and once it gets 10,000 votes, then they actually might make it a Lego set. They are almost there. They have like 200 and some odd days to go before the deadline, but they're almost at 10,000 votes. So I've been like spamming like every group that I own in my YouTube channel to tell people to go vote, because they're like 600-ish away from making that goal. And I'll have pictures floating above my head here too. But it's not just like cheap little like Lego things. They are like amazing looking. And if this becomes an actual Lego set, I'm buying every single one. Just like
do it for Kyle.
Vote.
I'm gonna buy every single one, and I'm gonna do unboxing videos. I'm gonna do building videos, and
And you're gonna start a second channel. That's
Maybe
all
you
about
can
Legos.
sponsor by them.
Actually, sponsorship by Lego, that'd be pretty awesome. But
That'd be amazing.
Wink, wink.
Lego, I know you're watching this.
But the thing is, like, having something like this done by Lego, this focus on make reproductions that look like crystals and specimens. Who's the main party playing with Lego? It's children, and if they make this a set, this actually might help inspire them to actually start also collecting rocks and specimens and actually get into the more geological side of things. So I think it's an awesome idea to actually get out there and make an actual thing And who knows? Maybe they might even make fossil sets too, because I'd buy those too. It doesn't matter. Like if they have like a minerals like line, like oh, don't shut up and take my money. Just like
amazing. Yeah, exactly.
But that's my words of wisdom. Go out there. I'll have we'll put the link to the voting thing in the description of this video. Just go. You got to sign up on the Lego site, which takes only a couple minutes, but go do it. Just don't think about it. Just think about it. Yeah. The only thing you really need to think about is think about the children. You're doing it for the kids and the potential of what's going to bring down the line. So go sign up, go vote for it, and we'll see it hopefully happen here soon. Fingers crossed.
And that, unironically, is the best way to plug anything. Just think of the children.
Yeah.
Be talking about anything and say that. Sorry, Kurt.
But thank you everyone for your words of wisdom. And Karen, if you do the honors, do the last part here.
Surely. First of all, Morne, thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, that was
showing
a pleasure. I really enjoyed it.
all of those rocks in your studio, and there's more. So hopefully you'll come back and join us again, and we can see your garden and stuff.
Definitely.
All right. And also, if somebody out there doesn't already know about you, which I don't know if there's anybody, but where do they find you as far as on the social media? Or I know you've got a Patreon. Like, let us know how to get, see more of you.
So I've got a website, mamlambofossils.com, and that's got links to all my social media, but I'm mostly active on YouTube. So Mamlambo Fossils on YouTube. I'm trying the TikTok thing. I'm giving it a go. I haven't done a dance yet, but yeah, I'm enjoying the shorter format as well. People keep asking me to sing "Shiny" from Moana. Apparently, I sound like someone there. But yeah, so I'm on TikTok and Instagram. If you just search for Mamlambo Fossils, and then I've got a Patreon where I do a little bit behind the scenes. And some of the projects which I'm not allowed to talk about yet, I'll live on Patreon. So if you want to see a little bit more behind the scenes, and but I mean, any way that you watch or support is awesome. And so long as you're enjoying it and you come with, that thirst for knowledge, because I learn as much from the comments as I learn from from finding the fossils. Honestly, there are some really good comments that come through and I'm like, yes, you are correct. I need to go and change that. So yeah, that's where I am and that's what I'm about.
Awesome. Wow. Thank you. And that's great advice. Yeah. Everybody leave us all the stuff that we need to fix in the comments right now. Meanwhile, also, you can come and hang out with us all week long over on the Discord. Email us. The email is in the description and we'll send you an invite, and we do show and tells. We answer questions, all that kind of stuff. That's all going on all week long on the Discord. That'll get you from podcast to podcast. We're also amassing your beautiful show and tells for our next viewer show and tell extravaganza. So send those also to the same email that's in the description. She can say it. Thank you so much for hanging out with us all the way to the end of this lovely podcast. And until next week, rock on. We'll see ya.
Rock on.
Hey guys.
Hold on. I hit the wrong button.
Not yet.
I hit the wrong button.
Still recording.
Where's the record?
Oh, we still yet?